The shocking stabbing death of Bob Lee, the Cash App founder, has a lot of people looking at San Francisco in a different way and really taking a look at what's happening in the city. If you hadn't heard the story, Bob Lee was, 2:30 in the morning?
Yep.
Was stabbed twice in the chest and was stumbling around trying to wave someone down for assistance. He actually called 911 on his phone, said that he'd been stabbed. By the time they got to him, he had bled out too much. They got him to a hospital.
And he died.
But he died. And it is...
This has rocked the city.
Yeah, rocked the city. A lot of high-profile people in the city asking questions now about what is happening there as far as dealing with crimes, dealing with violent crimes, and a lot of people feeling like it is on the rise. I'm not sure that the numbers necessarily back that up, but the feeling in the city is one of fear. Joining us right now is one of the city's supervisors. He represents District 4, is Joel Engardio, and he is joining us now. Joel, welcome to TMZ Live.
Thank you. Thank you.
Really appreciate you coming on. So, you know, I'm wondering whether this fear, and it's not just fear in San Francisco, I'm guessing now there are a lot of people who loved coming to San Francisco who might be fearful now. Is this just an image issue, or is this more rooted in reality for you?
Well, the murder of Bob Lee first was tragic, it's unnerving, it's enraging. These are the emotions I've been hearing from my constituents, residents who live in the Sunset area of San Francisco, where I represent. And so the fear is real. I mean, you have to put it into context. I mean, murder is not a common occurrence in San Francisco. If you go back in time, the bloodiest year in San Francisco history was 1977, 142 murders back then. We only have a third of that now. So, but it's no consolation to say we have a third less murders than in the 70s when people are feeling the fear, because there is real crime other than murder that is on the rise in San Francisco, and people are unnerved when they see a stabbing like this.
So you say that the feeling is real, and obviously people are going to demand some change. What is it that you're hearing from citizens? What is not happening? Why that feeling of fear is there?
Well, we have to be careful not to conflate what I'm about to say with the murder of Bob Lee, because that's under investigation. We don't know who or why or what happened. But beyond that, what the residents of San Francisco are dealing with in recent years are open air drug markets and a lot of homeless encampments where people are suffering, from mental illness and drug addiction, a rise in home burglaries and home invasions. People on the west side where I represent, their catalytic converters are sawed off their cars, like constantly. That's a big deal, and they want to see change. They want to see arrests. They want to see prosecution. We had an historic recall last year. Our district attorney was recalled, and we elected a new district attorney, Brooke Jenkins, who has promised and pledged to prosecute more vigorously, because this is what the residents are demanding right now. We're a very liberal city, very Democrat. I'm a liberal Democrat, but there is a time where people say enough. Like, there's just societal norms that no matter what party you are, that we need to live up to, and everyone wants just a safe, healthy city.
You are this kind of hub of liberalism in California, and have been all of my adult life at least. And I'm wondering if you think maybe some of that went off the rails at a point, and that things got too permissive when it came to fighting crime, prosecuting, but also just allowing things to happen in the city. Do you think it went too far? Is it being reset now, or am I just all wet thinking this?
Well, I think if you go back in time, there's a lot of reasons why we need to reform the criminal justice system, why we need to reform police departments. I mean, San Francisco Police Department did some terrible things in the past, but it's not the same department it was 10 or even 5 years ago. It's leading in reform. So I think, and it comes to criminal justice reform, we don't want to just throw everyone in jail and make,
of course.
Like, diversion programs are important. So there's that balance. So I think in recent years, we went too far in trying to correct the wrongs of the past and forgot the balance, right? Like, in the court of law, you have a public defender and you have a prosecutor, right? You need that healthy tension to get to the truth. You can't have public defenders on both sides of the aisle. And that's what we had in San Francisco for a while. And now we're kind of coming back to some normalcy, but while being mindful that we need to hold police accountable and reform our criminal justice system. But at the bottom line, none of that will work if people don't feel safe. And right now, people do not feel safe in San Francisco.
The homeless crisis, and I think the numbers are worse in Los Angeles, but I will say the last 2 times I've been in San Francisco in the last year, and I love San Francisco, it was my favorite city on the West Coast. And I have definitely walking around, it feels like because San Francisco is a smaller city and you are more on top of each other than we are here in LA where we're spread out, I had that feeling of fear as you walk around because you're encountering people who are, in some cases, mentally unstable, and you're just unsure of what is going to happen as you're walking through certain neighborhoods, and not bad neighborhoods either.
Right, and you know, homelessness is a housing issue, and we've not created enough housing over the decades. But in addition to that, there's a large number of homeless people who are suffering from drug addiction and severe mental illness. Until we treat those issues, we're not going to solve homelessness. And you know, we talked about prosecutors, we talked about public defenders. We need to talk about judges. Right now, we have a federal judge who has declared or ruled that San Francisco can no longer clean up or sweep homeless encampments, even if we're going to offer them treatment or shelter. And our city attorney is fighting that, and we're going to go to the Ninth Circuit. So it's an ongoing thing. So, you know, I've been trying to tell my constituents, they're very frustrated. And I say, these aren't excuses, but let me explain why things aren't changing as quickly as you want. Like, we have issues with judges, we have issues with, there's 11 colleagues on my board. You know, you need a majority of 6 to get anything done. So we're not always in alignment yet. So that's why elections matter. So I think voters need to continue in next year's elections to vote for change.
You know, I have to tell you, we have our fair share of politicians on TMZ Live, and some of them, it just all feels like a campaign speech. But what you've talked about over the last few minutes, I don't know, really resonates, and it's honest. And, you know, talking about that you have
an honest approach to real problems.
Yeah, and we really appreciate you coming on, because I think you've kind of crystallized a lot of what not only the problems in San Francisco, but in other cities, including ours in Los Angeles. So we really appreciate the time. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
That was fascinating.
Yeah.
That you have public defenders on both sides. I never thought of it that way.
Exactly.
That is really interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, we are taking a break.